Hey Eric, how you doing? Okay, so just taking a look at your writing here, audience for each of them. Yeah. Okay, so you sketches, vision. The sketches are centered around things I have interest in as well as a tribute to my dog. I look forward to the review. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over and take a look at the sketches. Now, as far as the presentation goes, I think the first thing, and I think the most obvious thing, is the sketches themselves are really small, so I'm really having difficulty seeing them. Also, it looks like you have a light hand with sketching, which is fine. I've got a really light hand too when I sketch. So typically what I'll do is I'll take my sketches, I'll put them in Photoshop, and I'll just run a quick adjustments layer to increase the contrast so that they're more visible. But in this case, I think it would you don't really have that light of. I have a super light hand when I sketch, so I have to adjust them for presentation. But yours isn't too bad at all. I mean, you've got some good contrast going on here. I think the main problem here is that just the sketches are just really tiny. It's really, really difficult to see. Even if I zoom in, just having a little bit of difficulty seeing the intent here. So this first sketch here is a little incomplete because it doesn't have any verbiage in place. You have notes, which is great. It's always great to have notes on your sketches. If you're not a great sketch artist, you just leave notes, and that's perfectly acceptable. The whole idea is that you're able to communicate your ideas. So this piece, I think, is a little incomplete in that there's no message here. We need a message, a headline, maybe a topic, a subject, and a call to action, if there is one. And then this one, I think this one is pretty cool. As far as your idea here goes, I think it's a good idea. I think graffiti artists are some of the most talented artists there are, and I think very few would question that. The problem is, though, the problem I'm seeing is that you're trying to convince, it sounds like you're trying to convince folks that graffiti is an art form, which it certainly is. I don't think there's many folks that would argue that. However, graffiti still is vandalism because you're changing the appearance of private property, if in the case it is on private property. And you can imagine from a property owner, you're probably it's going to be very, very difficult to try to convince a property owner that graffiti is indeed art if that property owner is continuously paying to remove graffiti from their private property. I hope that makes sense. So, but as far as the poster goes, that's tough. I'm just having a little bit of difficulty trying to decipher the exact message that you're trying to say. Again, no headlines, no subhead, no real call to action here. We're really difficult trying to determine what the actual message is. Okay, and then your target audience, I think, is something that should really, really be defined to a very high degree. Right now you're saying the main focus is a question to artists and wider public. So I'm not real sure what the target audience is. Who are you exactly trying to communicate to? Are you trying to communicate to graffiti artists? Are you trying to communicate to private property owners who look down on graffiti? Are you trying to communicate to law enforcement who look down on graffiti? It's really important to try to determine your target audience as accurately as you can. And that's one thing I would recommend moving into your final presentation for the week, your final submission, if you do intend on adjusting this work before you submit for grading, is to further define your target audience. And I can say that's probably true. Attracting athletes, fitness enthusiasts, sneakerheads alike. This is good. This one's fine. Yeah, that one's good. Target audience. This one, Boston Terrier to the public who may not know this breed, nod to the community. That one's pretty good too. But this one is really, really underdeveloped. So definitely want to work that out. Okay, as far as moving forward goes, again, just when we sketch, we really need to develop a really, really solid presentation of your idea. And sketching is really the way that you show your preliminary ideas to stakeholders, being whether they be, in this case, your instructor or your classmates. In your future design career, it would be your creative director, your art director, and even your clients. So you really want to address those specific stakeholders, letting them know your exact intent in all of your work. Okay, so as far as moving forward goes, it's a tough call, but I would go ahead and say just please feel free to move forward in the direction that you feel has the most potential and will allow you to work in new techniques and things that you've learned that you'll be learning in the first 2 weeks of class. So really try to apply what we're learning to what you're creating. I think is the best way to put that. So, all right. So again, move forward in the direction you feel has the most potential. All right. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to clarify anything I've covered in this video or anything else that may happen to come up. Just please feel free to let me know, and I'll be glad to do so. All right. Thanks so much.